Hello, everyone. It is Friday morning, November 19th. As of this time of this recording, the jury in the Kyle Rittenhouse case is still in deliberation. In the meantime, I feel convicted to mention one particular aspect of this case. It astounds me how the corporate media has managed to keep the public so ignorant as to the true identity of one of the men in particular who was killed that night in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and that is Joseph Rosenbaum. I didn't even know this until quite recently because it's been covered up. But Joseph Rosenbaum had an extremely heinous and villainous history. This was not the innocent victim as portrayed in the corporate press. In 2002, in Pima County, Arizona, Joseph Rosenbaum, a young adult, then age 19, was charged by a grand jury with 11 counts of child molestation and sexual activity with children, including oral sex and anal rape. The victims were 5 boys ranging in age from 9 to 11 years old. 9 to 11 years old. And this is the Wisconsin right now, press in Wisconsin. And they obtained these 11 counts, and this is word for word. Count 1, and it just goes down. 5 boys, age 9 to 11. Look at this. Rape. It goes on and on. Rape. Unbelievable. And this is the man who the media is portraying as this innocent victim. There's the 11 counts. Okay? You can look it up. This is all public record. There is a very strong argument to be made that based on these previous acts of child rape, Joseph Rosenbaum did not even deserve to be alive, much less roam the streets. Now, to be clear, vigilante justice against child rapists who get off with a light sentence, as Rosenbaum did, is obviously not the way to go. We have due process of law in this country. That's one of the great hallmarks of liberty and of our Bill of Rights. Rosenbaum's criminal past has no bearing on whether or not it was just for Kyle Rittenhouse to shoot him that night in Wisconsin. The question a jury has to ask is whether or not this was an act of self-defense. Personally, I think it's pretty incontrovertible based on the evidence that it was in fact self-defense. And so the question a jury must consider is self-defense, not Rosenbaum's previous history. So let's make that clear. But still, the sick, disgusting, evil, wicked criminal history of Joseph Rosenbaum tells you something about the man, about his character, and about his motives that night in Kenosha. Video and eyewitnesses, multiple eyewitnesses, testify that Rosenbaum was acting very aggressively that night. He was using racial slurs, yelling the N-word in a gas station parking lot. He pushed a burning dumpster into a police cruiser with officers inside. Eyewitnesses said that he was brandishing a chain and threatening to kill people. How much of this are you hearing in the media? None of it. Rittenhouse on the stand testified, and yeah, it's Rittenhouse's own testimony, but seemed like pretty credible testimony, especially given the other eyewitness accounts and given Rosenbaum's previous vile history. But Rosenbaum according to Rittenhouse in his testimony, told Kyle, "If I catch any of you effers alone, I'm going to effing kill you. I'm going to cut your effing hearts out and kill you N-words." End quote. So it really shows how broken our judicial system is that someone like this man, a child rapist, 5 boys, 9 to 11 years old, could even be roaming the streets freely. The justice system failed those 5 children who were molested or raped by this man. First of all, as for the failures of the judicial system here, the charges against Rosenbaum were amended in a plea deal, itself just hugely problematic. And because of that plea deal and the amended charges, Rosenbaum was sentenced to a little more than 12 years in prison. Was put on lifetime probation, which is why he didn't have a gun at Kenosha. Why he needed to grab Rittenhouse's gun or lunge for it. Now, child rape used to be punishable by death. People forget that. And it was not too long ago that it was. Recent history, in fact, child rape was punishable by death. The Supreme Court changed that in 2008 in Kennedy versus Louisiana. Kennedy, the defendant, was convicted of raping his 8-year-old stepdaughter. He was sentenced to death, justly so, under Louisiana law. But then the Supreme Court ruled in a 5-4 decision that the death penalty in cases of child rape violates the 8th Amendment's prohibition on cruel and unusual punishment. This was a terrible decision. And in fact, by the way, Barack Obama in 2008 on the campaign trail condemned the Supreme Court's decision. Look at this from World Socialist website, 2008. Obama attacks U.S. Supreme Court decision barring death penalty for people convicted of child rape. Under a just judicial system, if you rape a child, you have forfeited, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as most of history has been concerned, you have forfeited your right to live. Okay? Actually, I would extend that to just first-degree rape in general. Okay, and by the way, first-degree rape used to be punishable by death also in this country. But you look at this, especially child rape. You're convicted of child rape or child sexual molestation, or if you're convicted of child trafficking, okay, any of those crimes, I'd say mandatory death penalty. Okay. And that's a just judicial system. Those poor lives, those 5 boys, their lives were ruined by that vile man. And I'll probably get some hate for this video. Look, it's freedom of speech. In my case, academic freedom. Okay, and that means something in this country. And there are millions upon millions of Americans who would also agree with the sentiment of what I've said here. If they were given the full facts, but they haven't been given the facts. That's the problem. All right, that's all I have to say. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.